All right, everybody, this is Coach Dave Reinecke here with Aesthetics Training and Nutrition. We're going to talk to you guys about another injury. We're going to talk about tennis elbow today. So if you are affected by this or you know somebody that is, here's the info. All right, so like you heard from the intro, we're going to talk about tennis elbow, okay? Now, tennis elbow is classically termed lateral epicondylitis, but I'm going to refer to it as tennis elbow throughout the video just for the ease of explaining. But you're going to be feeling pain if you do that, or if you are affected by this, on the outside part of the elbow, okay? So that's on the thumb side, okay? So if you look at yourself in a mirror and put your palm facing in, thumb side, this is the lateral elbow, okay? Now, tennis elbow is a repetitive injury. It's caused by repetitive movements that are done over and over and over again, and then inflammation as a result of stress is going to be seen at that area, right on the outside part of the elbow. Repetitive movements, most common ones are going to be, weightlifting, obviously. It can be tennis, hammering things into the wall or into the ground, sawing a lot, doing any sort of repetitive movement where the elbow is going to be involved is going to, eventually over time, if not recovered well or not treated properly, can result in something called tennis elbow. All right. It does affect about 3% of the population. Now, if you think of how many people are in the world, 7 billion or 7.5 billion or something along those lines, it can be a pretty significant number. And I see it probably once a week at least in what I do as far as being a fitness professional and rehab specialist. There are different ways to go about and treat it, but the biggest thing that you want to come back to is the basics. Resting the injury, icing the inflamed area. You can compress it if you want, you can elevate it, but rest and ice are going to be the two biggest ones as far as that, and then specific exercises that I'm going to explain to go about then strengthening that area. So going back to about a minute ago when I talked about just how you can develop that injury, what happens is as a result of that, that stress, there is a muscle here in the forearm, one of the extensor muscles, okay? I think it's your extensor carpi radialis brevis to be specific. But basically, just the forearm muscle here develops little micro tears within that. And eventually, when those micro tears are not able to heal properly, it's going to build up inflammation. And where that muscle from the wrist up to the elbow joint, where it attaches here, you're going to have a buildup of inflammation as a result of all that stress. And you're going to end up having pain on this area. So you may get pain with things like twisting a door, bringing your arm back above your head, maybe just opening your arm like this, straightening your arm, things like that. Things where your everyday lifestyle is going to be compromised because we all do this sort of movement with our arm every day. Okay, the elbow is just a hinge joint, but it's attached to the shoulder, which is a very mobile joint. Probably one of the most mobile joints in the body besides the hips and then the foot and ankle. But the hinge joint here at the arm, we do this a lot, whether it's putting our hand on our head, whether it's writing, driving, we're always in that bent arm position. Rarely ever are we ever in almost full extension unless we're working out or doing one of those other movements. Now, like I said, resting and icing are two of the biggest things that you can do as far as reducing the inflammation. If you go back and watch any of my other videos that we have on the channel, the Aesthetics Training and Nutrition YouTube channel, or read any of the articles that we've posted, I've talked about how you can use your nutrition in order to help reduce inflammation or control inflammation with your food. And that would be things like cutting out the sugary substances, the white carbs that are inflammatory inducing, intake, increase your intake of omega-3 fatty acids. Use your spices, turmeric, ginger, paprika, cayenne pepper, things like that are going to help fight that inflammation, as well as some of the other nutrients that go about regrowing connective tissue. But you want to drive inflammation out of that area, and any way that you can do that naturally without using a prescription drug or an NSAID is the best way to go. Now, as far as exercises that you can do, I'm going to have a couple different props here. So I have a ball, and then this is going to simulate my dumbbell, okay? So the stapler, as I said here in front. But one of the common ones, you do want to increase your grip strength, okay? So being a weightlifter or bodybuilder, we do want to have a necessary amount of grip strength in order, because our hand is what's holding the weight. It's really just a lever, but you have all this musculature here. So say you're doing a bicep curl, you have all this musculature here that's going to lead up into that bicep. So you have to think about this as well as this to make it a much stronger movement. Because if this doesn't work, if your forearm doesn't work, it's going to make this a lot harder to work. or it's going to, cause some problems here at the elbow joint, which you're going to be using a lot in that movement. So one of the key things as far as grip strength is, I'll take a ball, okay, I'll just have it in my forefingers, all right, so my thumb is here on the side. I used to do this a lot with baseball because I used to pitch in baseball, and we would always have to have a necessary amount of grip strength. So you take it in your forefingers, and all you're going to do is you're going to squeeze, okay? You're going to hold about 6 to 10 seconds or so, and then relax. And you're contracting all this musculature here in the forearm, okay? So then squeeze, and then relax. And then squeeze, do it one more time, and then relax. Now this is a lacrosse ball. Obviously you would use a squishy ball or something like a stress ball, or you can grab one of the weight clips at the gym and use that, squeeze that there, and then relax. They have grip strengthening tools, but it's basically just a clip that you put on to the barbell at the gym. There's one called the drawing sword. Okay, so in tennis, you're doing this movement a lot. Okay, so that's pretty much why I got the name tennis elbow, is because you're doing that movement a lot, and that's where a lot of people would see pain, even if a majority of the injuries aren't really seen from tennis players at all. But drawing sword exercise, you're going to stand with just erect, nice and tall. Have your hand here, if it's my left hand, here on my right side, and I'm going to just go here at a nice 45-degree angle out, and then come back down. So you might see people do this with a cable or with a dumbbell. Be here, core tight, chest up, come up, 45-degree angle, and then down. So you're placing stress here on this outer part of the hand, or on the forearm here, having to come up and then control down. Okay, so that's drawing sword. Supination and pronation. Okay, so these are just very common. So if you have a dumbbell or like a light dumbbell or some sort of weight like a soup can, supination here. Okay, and then pronation with my palm down. So I'm getting this rotation, come in supination, and then pronation with my palm down, and that's getting musculature here with my brachioradialis, as well as the other forearm muscles that I have here. Okay, so I'm promoting that rotation here with my radius, or one of the bones here of my forearm, and the musculature that's associated with it. Okay, so supination, pronation. You can play around with where you have the weight. Okay, so if I go to one side of the handle, I'm going to get more force that's going to want to push down on this here, and then I have to use more coming back, okay, and then you can do it here the same way. But you have more coming down, and then you have to do more work coming back this way. Traditional bicep curls, okay, so if you do an alternating bicep curl, you can have your palm that's facing inwards, just at your side, and as you come up, you're going to rotate, squeeze the bicep, and then come back down. So the bicep is an assister in this particular exercise, or it's a primary muscle in this exercise, but you have assister muscles here in the forearm, which are brachioradialis, and then up here in the bicep area, your brachialis, that assists within this movement, okay? So the bicep, it does assist with being a supinator as well as a flexor, and then you have muscles here that are going to assist in that movement, all right? So you have your alternating bicep curl with the supination and the contraction, just a regular hammer curl, okay? Keeping your palm facing in, just coming up, squeezing the bicep, but the primary muscle is going to be here at the brachioradialis. So the brachioradialis is this meaty portion, okay, of the arm, right in this area, where that is really covering over on that joint, and then where you're having that pain. You can do the ball exercise with a towel as well, and I've had a lot of success with people doing, like, sticking their hand into a bucket of sand, and then gradually just, kind of filtering through the sand, because as you see, you're getting all movement with the musculature of the forearm, okay? So any movement that you can get, the extensors and the flexors here correlate to the flexors and extensors of the hand. All right, so biggest things with tennis elbow is that, it's not an easy injury to come back from. The general rehab time is about 6 to 12 months. But if you are diligent with your rehab, then this injury, can progress a lot faster. If you're on top of the exercises, on top of the rest and the reducing inflammation and all the pieces that are going to make you successful with rehabbing from this injury, those are going to be the best ways that you're going to be able to get back to doing what you want to do. So if you guys do have any questions more about tennis elbow, or any questions about any injury, altogether, feel free to contact us. We're going to leave our contact info below. Feel free to shoot us a message on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, any way that you can get a hold of us. But I hope this was informative, and we're going to be doing more about this, whether they're common injuries or not so common injuries, give you guys the information that you need. So if you guys have anything that you want us to take a look at, like I said, feel free to comment and let us know. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much.